Yo, it's Tuesday night. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. So the boys from We Talking About Sports are here to talk about it.
Yep, officially in the second round, Justin. Had some great series wrap up there in the first round. I thought that Knicks and Pacers series was pretty phenomenal. Wait, not they just that just started. Who did the Knicks just play? I'm already tripping out, but yeah,
Sixers.
the Sixers. Yeah, the Knicks and Sixers had a good series. But yeah, excited for the second round. Excited to chop it up with you guys.
Yeah, even that Knicks and Pacers game that happened last
There we
night,
go.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was a pretty much a classic to start. But yeah, happy to be here. And we got Eddie in the comments already. What's up, Eddie? Happy
What about Eddie?
anniversary to him. Justin, your parents, 36 years, cuz. Little
Damn,
shout out.
the math's not mathing on that one. What's up with that?
I don't know.
That's a
I'm
little
just reading
crazy.
Facebook posts, but shout out Eddie. Always here with us. Always
Props.
here with us.
True love. True love.
Let's get into the weekend's events before we talk the NBA real quick. And that was the UFC. We had a pay-per-view UFC 301. We talked about it a little bit. We had the return of Jose Aldo, the king of Rio. Ben Roland, the kid looked good again. I mean, it didn't look like there was any drop off for Jose Aldo this weekend. What'd y'all think?
Man, I was on the wrong side. I came on the pod and discussed it with you guys. I was on the young gun, the up and comer, Jonathan Martinez. He was running a nice little winning streak into this fight. But, I think I've gotten pretty good. And I wish I was better at doing this before the fight. But this was one of those fights within the first 30 seconds. You can tell who was going to be leading the dance, who was the quicker man, and essentially who was the better man that night. And that was Jose Aldo. From the moment that the bell rung, he was leading the dance. He was the quicker guy. He had Jonathan Martinez fighting off his back foot most of the time. When Martinez wanted to get aggressive, he paid for it. And from the moment that the bell rung to when he had Martinez on his back, when the bell rung again to end the fight, Jose Aldo class act and classic performance. And he's already talking about, wanting to get back into maybe possible normal fighting activity and, challenging for a title.
What about you, Ben? Were you impressed with Jose Aldo's performance Saturday?
Yeah, I thought that the kid looked like a deer in the headlights. I know that that's kind of what we talked about. This was going to be a real big fight for him. Justin, you said the fans would be yelling, Tu vas morir, you're going to die. And it just seemed like the lights were a little bit too bright. Aldo dominated to a unanimous decision. Um, just looked good. I mean, I don't know about the whole title shit. This was an opponent that I think, was Aldo as a co-main event on a very underwhelming Brazil card. I even fell asleep for part of the main event. I ain't gonna front on you. But Jose Aldo did look good. It was an opponent that they kind of spoon-fed to him, I would think. Still a ranked fighter, right? But I don't think that they, gave him the toughest test because it was a Brazil fight. They kind of wanted him to be, one of the main attractions to the card. So they did right by him, and he took care of business.
Moving over to the main event, Pantoja being back, it seemed like the internet did not agree with the UD. It felt like a lot of people were pushing back on that and said that he got beat up. How did he win? People like Demetrius Johnson were even saying, man, these flyweights, maybe we shouldn't pay-per-view them anymore. They should not be main eventers. You were saying that you slept through some of it, Ben. Did you see some of the highlights afterwards? What did you make of this fight?
Yeah, I did hear the internet talking about it. A lot of people thought Ursig, won. I would crash. We had a long day, so at this fight, I started crashing out. I would hear Roland Gonzalez was over at the house watching the fights. I was sitting on the couch, closed my eyes. I would hear him react, and I would open my eyes. And more often than not, I just felt like it was Ursig when I saw. Like I said, I didn't see too much of the fight, but Ursig, you look at the stats, he led in that too. I know a lot of people, there was not one Brazil fighter that lost. I think this might have been one of the more controversial ones, but yeah, Brazilians in Brazil, I think they got good insurance over there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with Pantoja winning the fight. I don't agree with the scorecard on the far right. I think that's why you kind of have it up here, Justin, that 49-46. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Pantoja won 3 rounds to 2. Ursig, though, showed out. I mean, they talked about, before the fight, kind of, having to scavenge through the division to find an opponent. But it turns out that Steve Erceg was about the toughest opponent that you can give Pantoja, because he gave him a lot of problems. Justin, you talked about it, on the pre-fight show. His acumen on the ground. Steve Erceg was able to hold his own on the ground. Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, excuse me.
Yeah.
And so that played into factor, and he was a good guy on striking from the outside. Had a couple good elbows that really shook up Pantoja, but I don't necessarily think that the decision was wrong. I don't think it was a 49-46. I don't think anybody should have scored it like that.
Yeah, I agree. The fight was slow. Pantoja, he seemed like he gassed even earlier than before than the usual Pantoja gas.
Yeah.
I think it was like midway through the second, he was already huffing and puffing and just trying to like hold him down for the most part.
I didn't
He's
catch
not the
it.
most exciting guy right now.
Yeah, I didn't catch it, but I was listening to a podcast earlier today, and they were talking about how in between one of the rounds, it looked like Pantoja almost wanted to throw up as he took a couple bad elbows, and he was probably pretty concussed. And I didn't know that if you throw up in between rounds, that's curtains. They call the fight. So if
Wow,
he
I didn't know that
did get
either.
close to that, and didn't withheld the throw up, and kept on fighting, and ended up getting his belt wrapped around his waist for and still kudos to him, because if it's one thing that Pantoja has proven, and I know we don't want to spend too much time on UFC 301, but it's that he's got championship mettle. He's got that championship mindset, right? He find ways to get it done, whatever you want to say. So will he continue his reign? I don't know, but I think he's proven to be a worthy champion for sure.
Ben, anything else on 301 before we move over?
No, underwhelming. I would agree with you of not headlining these lighter guys, and just it wasn't that might have been the worst UFC pay-per-view that we're going to see this year, I think.
Let's hope it is, right?
Yeah, because they're going hard with the next two, I think. So yeah, I think you might be onto something there.
All right, let's move over to Canelo Munguia. Cinco de Mayo. That means Canelo Alvarez is going to fight. The judges had it in favor of Canelo, 117-100, 116-111, 115-112. Roland, I'll go to you here first. What'd you make of the fight?
Canelo taking care of business. He was clearly the better guy. His strength came into play there at the end, knocking the guy down and keeping him up. It looked like it in one of those sequences instead of, letting the knockdown go all the way through. But as we talked about before, this fight is kind of a stepping stone, or, just a, hey, I didn't want to take the other matchup fight. Let me do this while I figure out my next move. And, we're already hearing rumblings of what might be next for Canelo. Justin, I don't know if you buy into the Terrence Bud Crawford versus Canelo in Saudi matchup that they're talking about. But, yeah, it was always what's next for Canelo, and I'm just glad that we got there unscathed.
Ben, what about you? What did you make of the fight? You're on mute.
My bad. I thought this fight was kind of underwhelming as well, bro. But I see the knockdown with Canelo. I mean, it was. I didn't think that it was that good of a fight. He was talking. What interested me more was his post-fight speech. I did hear him in there talking a pretty big game, talking about he's not scared to fight anybody, this, and that. So I was thinking that fight with Benavidez would probably get made after this. I did see those social media rumors. Not like by any verified outlets or anything. I didn't see. I'm also really don't know much about boxing as far as keeping up with the news and the social media like I do with the UFC. But I did see the Terrence Crawford's name and his being thrown around also. I don't know if that was just being kept in the tuck, till after this fight or what. But, I mean, that'd be a pretty damn good reason to skip over Benavidez, I would say.
Yeah, so that Saudi card, they just lost Dimitri Bivol and Beterbiev, one of the fights we all wanted to see. Someone tore their ACL. I want to say it was Beterbiev, and so Bivol is looking for someone else. They're thinking of throwing the guy that Crawford was going to face against him, and then now putting Canelo to headline with Crawford to make a super mega event, which would be pretty crazy if they did something like that. I got to say hats off to the kid, Jaime Munguia. He didn't know what he was up against. He looked, he came out shooting and throwing his hands, and it ended up catching up to him in the fourth round. He did get knocked down, and then Canelo carried for the rest of the fight. I mean, it was not the most entertaining Canelo fight, but pretty good showing.
Wow. I don't know. I know I'm the UFC casual here, right? But I mean boxing casuals is what you guys sounded like right now. Not to be so disrespectful as soon
Why
as I
was
get
this
on
fight
the
badass or what, Ron?
dude, it was everything that you want to see.
How fucked up were you?
It was everything that you wanted to see, man. You saw a
No comment. No comment.
a young 27-year-old kid go up against the king of Mexico in Canelo Alvarez. He didn't back down. He got knocked down in the fourth, got right back up. According to some judges, you know, because of the scorecards, the way that the numbers were, he even won a couple rounds after that, man. So this thing delivered. It wasn't one of those fights where you're grabbing and, you know, it was boring. Canelo goes in there and ends it early. I mean, this kid, undefeated record, goes in there, shows no fear, and goes up against the king, man. All right. The biggest winner to me, though, man, is Mexico. I mean, you have Munguia from Tijuana. You have Canelo from, you know, Jalisco. He you know, represents Jalisco. And yes, Ben, you were talking about David Benavidez being the next fight, but to me, I mean, he was born in Phoenix, right? So I don't know if that's the next step for him. I think Bud Crawford is the mega fight that Canelo has to take after this. Justin, alluding to what you were saying, the guy's name is Turki Al-Sheikhi. He's the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority, and I think he's going to make that fight happen. The reason that a lot of these mega fights don't happen, boys, is because everybody wants a lot of money, right? I'm the A side, you're the B side. Pay me this, pay me that. The only people that have enough money to get these fights done are people from Saudi. So I think you see that fight happening, rumored at the end of the year, if not next year. It was a very entertaining fight, man. I really think it was. And if you're saying that Canelo went in there and won easily, yeah, he did. But Munguia still put up a fight. He didn't get pushed over. You didn't see, you know, him get knocked down several times. He was in there battling. You know, he landed some good shots on Canelo as well. Very entertaining fight. It went all 12. You know, clearly you see the numbers here. 117, 116, 115. So I liked it. I had a badass time on Saturday night. And you know, that's kind of reason why I wasn't on the show in the beginning, because the Pantoja fight I didn't even touch, bro. I mean, a casual UFC guy.
Did you have a ticket on this Canelo fight?
I had, what did I have? We like drew names. You know, when you draw names, I had the 8th round, and then I took them in the 7th and in the 10th round. But, you know, obviously went to decision. So wasn't a good money-making night for me. But regardless of it, I was very entertained, and I was very happy that we got a good fight.
It's because I had seen you say Canelo by decision, I think somewhere on social media. So it kind of had gone to, I think it was, yeah, I had seen your comment somewhere predict Canelo by decision. But that's why I asked.
Yeah, man. I didn't even take my own fucking advice, bro. The guy named Jax, his name is Jax Phoenix. He hit me up earlier in the week, and I said, you know what? This is exactly how the fight's gonna go. The fight night came in. You know, you get your phone out, you put your bets in, and you don't listen to your own damn advice, bro. So I know, like I
be like that.
All right. Let's move over to the NBA playoffs. We do have, since the last time we talked about it, the Mavs have punched their ticket in, and the Cavs have finally beaten those pesky Orlando Magic, and they've punched their ticket in. Last night we did see the Wolves. Let's talk about the Wolves. Go up 2-0 on the Nuggets, the defending champs. Ron, I'm going to kick it to you first because I know you've been big on, Anthony Edwards. Did you ever see this series being up 2-0 for the away side?
Nobody did, man. Nobody did. After, what Denver did last year, obviously they rolled through the Lakers. You don't see 2-0 down to the Wolves. Nobody has this series 2-0 right now. If you do, shit, let me know because I need to start listening to some of your advice. But I think if you stop and think, though, guys, is this that shocking? Roland, that you watch a lot of NBA, you saw how big of a leads the Lakers had, 20 points, 12 points. It took some crazy miraculous shots there from Jamal Murray, obviously the buzzer beater. So should we have expected this from the Nuggets, going against a better team than the Wolves? Because the Lakers aren't the Wolves and the Wolves aren't the Lakers, clearly. Maybe we should have, seen this coming a little bit.
Yeah, I think there definitely is a little something to that. I don't know if we could have seen 2-0 coming, especially winning 2 road games. I don't think that's something that anybody saw at all. But, it was kind of, there's something in the water there, in that Lakers and Nuggets series. You alluded to it. The Lakers had a bunch of big leads on the Nuggets. It took a game winner from Jamal Murray to win one game. and then a couple of other collapses there from the Lakers. So the Nuggets kind of have just been going along, and hey, this is just the product too of playing deep into the postseason, season after season after season. There's going to be some wear and tear on those tires. You're going to get a little bit older, going to go with some injuries. Some guys are going to leave. They don't have all the same role players. The guys that they do have still left from that championship run are a little bit older, a little bit slower. And that's kind of showing. The Nuggets just have guys and bodies and bodies and bodies to throw at these guys. They have a bunch of wing defenders. They have multiple bodies to throw at Jokic. And it's not even Gobert, because they play a Nas Reed on Jokic. They play Cat on Jokic sometimes. And they kind of leave Gobert as a rotational guy there. So
he wasn't even there last night.
Yeah, and he wasn't even there last night, and they did that. So not super surprised, but did not see 0-2 coming. But I will, kind of agree with Jeremy. I think the Nuggets are in trouble, and I might be, saying that the fat lady might be singing pretty soon.
Ben, I mean, 0-2. The Nuggets, they are the defending champs, but they just seem like they're not tough enough for these Wolves. They seem like they're a little more finesse, and I'm not sure that they can come back from being down 0-2. Is it curtains for these boys?
Yeah, 100%. It is curtains. What I will say is you're also seeing some out of character stuff. I mean, you saw Malone. I don't know how the hell he didn't get a technical in game 2. But he ran up on that ref like he was gonna go deck him, bro. Like he wanted all the smoke. He wanted all the smoke, came away with not even one technical, which most people would have thought maybe that was, not an ejection because it's the playoffs, but for damn sure a technical. Then you see Murray acting a fool, throwing the towel from the end of the bench. Like these are champions. These are guys that people say, are veterans. Jamal Murray has been in the league long enough. He's a champion to where he's kind of considered a veteran. We talk about how it's an older team. They just look out of character. They look a lot slower. So I do think that it is curtains going back to Minnesota. I mean,
a lot of injuries too, Ben.
Yeah, and Murray coming into the series, right? They were saying that he was injured. He was questionable. He's battled through it. But I mean, you can tell like these games haven't been close. That's the other thing. I mean, they were in Denver, and it's not like, they escaped with the win here. Game winner, whatever. No, they've beaten the brakes off of Denver, bro. Very demoralizing. And I think that's why you're seeing guys like Murray, throwing towels around like it's a Curry's mouthpiece or some shit.
Throwing heat packs into the court. I mean, that's next level.
Act right.
And me and Ben talked about it, man. If you go to our Instagram or Facebook, any of our social medias, I believe there's a reel up on Michael Porter Jr. And we said, can he be as consistent as he was against the Lakers? And the answer right now is no. I mean, not just him, everybody. But he was hitting threes, off, little fadeaways, little what's that called, Roland, when they come off the screen?
Coming off the screen, like a little
rub. I think
rub.
Yeah. Like he was. I mean, everything was going down for him in that series. So we're seeing him struggling. Aaron Gordon came out hot, and they still couldn't finish. I mean, shit, boys, we could see a definite new NBA champion this year. No back-to-back for the Nuggets.
I think this year, too, I mean, is a big, we say it all the time, and, sometimes it's more like, the media is pushing it, and it's really not happening. But I think this is a true changing of the guard. Like, look at the teams that we have up in the playoffs. I think the team with the most veterans, really. I mean, you look at the Celtics.
KD,
they got
Steph,
some
LeBron.
Yeah, exactly. All the big superstars are out. But I mean, looking at, the teams that we have left, I mean, we're in good hands with some superstars. I don't think we necessarily need the Currys and the LeBrons there anymore. But I just want to play. It's a changing of the guard. We got some good young talent, and yeah, I'm excited to see how the second round shakes out.
I mean, all the Curry fans and LeBron fans have already switched players. So, yeah, it pretty much is a changing of the guard.
They found their new favorites.
You got the Curry fans jumping on Shai. You got the LeBron fans jumping on Ant and Luka. So, it's already
And Zion. Don't forget Zion.
Come on, man. Let Zion play a playoff game first. Let's keep him out of the combo.
Hey, Zion and Ant together on a squad. Oof.
Yeah, so the last thing I wanted to ask you about this one, guys, is how much do you attribute these wins to the Nuggets just, not making shots like Ron said, or how much is it really the Timberwolves and maybe even their defense, the way that they're guarding Murray? They're guarding him 62 feet up the court. I mean, they're guarding him right away. He's never been guarded that high. So how much do you contribute to it's actually the game plan of the Timberwolves, or how much is it just that the wheels are falling off because of the injuries and everything that's adding up on the Nuggets?
Man, it's a little bit of both. I mean, I do think the Timberwolves came into this matchup, the fresher team, even though the Nuggets only had a 5-game series with the Lakers. Those were hard fought games. The Nuggets had a little bit more injuries. We just talked about Murray coming in hobbled. And then you talk about the game plan with the Wolves. They're constantly on your ass. That's their motto. They'll pick you up full court, maybe not all the time, but they have the bodies to do it. They have the bodies to expend. And so, the Nuggets are in a bad spot right now. That's where I'm at.
Ben, what about you? Where are you contributing the win more to? Is it really the Wolves doing this, or is
Yeah.
it just more so the beatdown of the Nuggets' bodies and everything that's coming through with that?
No, I think it is the Wolves, and I think it's the fact that they can get a lot of defense, from a lot of these positions. They have, the Daniels, the Neil Walkers. They have a lot of guys to throw at these players. Even Jokic, they have Cat, they have Naz Reid, they have Gobert. Those are all 7-footers that Jokic has to go up against. And by the end of the game, when they're throwing all these bodies at you and picking you up full court because they can afford to do that, based on the depth that they have, these guys are showing that, that's not normal basketball. I know it's playoff basketball, but not even in the playoffs do they normally pick up, as soon as you're inbounding the ball. So these teams are young. They're using their youth. They're using their quickness, and it's working out. This is college basketball full court press shit. I mean, not necessarily, resulting in a lot of turnovers, but you're seeing it where kind of like in a fight where the later rounds, the cardio is just not there. Fourth quarter time comes around. It really hasn't been a game by the fourth quarter, but damn, these guys are gassed.
Yep.
Jamal Murray is who we thought he is, right? Like that saying, like we are who we thought they were. I mean,
champion.
We went.
I wouldn't go that far.
I'll go that far because he fucked up my Lakers twice in a row already. And I'm fucking sick and tired of it.
All right. At least, at least that's all out there. At least that's all out there in the open. Go on, Ron. Go on.
For the context.
That's the basis of my argument right here. But hey, man, this guy, everybody says, why isn't he an all-star? He got snubbed, this and that. I mean, maybe because he's just a star, not a superstar. But when it comes to the damn Lakers, he's a superstar. But maybe he's showing his true colors. Could be the injury. I mean, let's admit it. It doesn't look like he's 100% out there. But champions always get through adversity. And it looks like he's going through adversity right now. And he's not performing the way that he is. And, other guys that win ships, go through all the trouble. They go through injuries. They lose on the road. But him throwing that damn heat pack was just the straw that broke the camel's back for me, man. They're shook. Absolutely shook over there in the Mile High City.
Hey, and
you're done with
Wolves? Go ahead, Roland.
No, I was gonna say Ron's done with Murray, and then I'm guessing he's done with Pat Bev. You're not accepting that behavior from Pat Bev either. He threw the basketball at the fan.
At the lady's head.
Oh, but Pat Bev's a dog. Pat Bev is a dog.
That's expected, right? If Pat Bev doesn't throw the ball at the fan, we're pissed, bro.
Exactly. You see.
I'm just making sure the agendas are out there.
And that's a good point that you make, Roland, because we expect shit like that, right? From Draymond, Pat Bev, all these guys that get off, LeBron crying, but the fact that it's Murray, it's like, oh shit, we really expect this from this guy.
Out of character, yeah.
Out of character, yeah.
Shout out Mike Conley. We were talking about him this morning in the chat. Starting point guard for the T-Wolves. They traded for him. I think it was him and Walker that they got in the same trade. And he's there, the starting point guard, kind of just making sure they don't turn the ball over, trying to get the most out of their possessions. And Mike Conley's the type of guy that when he sees a mismatch, he knows to get the ball there. This is, this guy is a veteran, bro. Also a guy who probably deserves a championship. So, yes. I mean, I know Ron was on them early, Roland as well. We even talked about Ron. You said, Ben, I ain't going to wait until after game one when the price might be better because they lose game one. I'm just going to take them pre-series. And, I mean, look at how you're sitting now, bro. It's great call on that, but you all have been on the Wolves, and they're definitely passing the eye test. Rudy Gobert misses a game because of the birth of his child, which is, I mean, I get it, family, but damn, bro, this is the playoffs. You feel me? This is the defending champs. I thought that was questionable. They didn't need him, whatever, but Shit, that's wild.
Yeah,
bro.
I thought his back was flaring up or something. I know he's been battling some back
No,
problems. I don't know.
I think it's okay to
When I was a
miss for
kid.
the birth of your kid.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that.
Regular
But-
season game.
Well, hey, we'll see. I like the way it shakes out for the Wolves, though. You know, you're talking about futures and stuff. I mean, they got to get through this round. I think they'll be fine here. Maybe 5 or 6 games of the Nuggets kind of, you know, have a last stand game or two. But you got to think they get through the Thunder and Magic about the tip-off. We're going to talk about that game. You got to think they're going to beat each other up. And I like the Wolves in either of those matchups.
I think they're favored. Just coming
yeah,
out. I think
they're-
wherever they play,
They're
probably
the odds-on favorite to win the West right now. The Wolves, I checked this morning. I think they're odds-on -125. I think I have a ticket from sometime in January on them at +800 to win the West, along with the Thunder. So hopefully one of those two guys win the West. But
All right,
I think they can take the Celtics out.
let's get over to the East. A game that's been played already. Game 1 of the Knicks and the Pacers, and it seemed like the Knicks needed a little bit of help to get that win last night. I don't know if you boys saw it. I want to ask y'all, what'd you make of it? Because they did end up winning. What was it, by 4 points in the end? But without that, pick and roll at the top, or where the screen was set, at least not the pick and roll, the screen was set at the top. The refs called it on the Pacers. I thought that was a little bit of a weak foul considering it's the playoffs, Ben. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, glad it went the way it went, but definitely I think a weak call. Couldn't do nothing but laugh at the way they got the ball back. And the Knicks did it to themselves. They were horrible at the end with the inbounds. I know Jalen Brunson is small, but man, I guess on inbounds is when you notice it the most because he just never seems comfortable, catching an inbound. He jumped into the air, going out of bounds, threw the ball off the player, and then it lands on Brunson out of bounds. It was ugly. The turnovers. They're playing a lot of minutes. That's kind of the Thibodeau motto, but you do always want your best guys out there. You got to think, when are these guys going to run out of gas? They are a younger bunch, I think, for the most part. Hardenstein's out there at center giving them really good minutes. And in the East, Porzingis might not even be playing in the next round if you advance. I do know Turner had a really good game. So the Pacers, I do think, are going to put up a fight. I don't see them winning a game in New York, though. Think this probably ends with New York in 6. But man, dude, shout out Josh Hart, bro. Like, Josh Hart is the type of player that no matter who the hell you're a fan of, what team, you want a Josh Hart on your team. That guy is a baller, bro. He needs to work on his free throws because also that was part of the problem. Missed a lot of free throws late in the 4th, but God, dude, can't say one bad thing about Josh Hart.
Roland, what'd you make of that finish last night with the refs having to kind of get involved and kind of push the win the other way?
Man, you never want the game to be decided by the refs, right? The refs injecting themselves and making questionable calls. You always want the refs to kind of stay out of it, but just kind of the way the game shook out. You mentioned that screen Bush League call, probably one of the worst calls that I've seen, almost as bad as the other call that we saw, and this is completely different, but the women's basketball national championship game, that screen that they called, the foul they called on UConn, equally as weak. I'm just saying, recent memory, I'm just thinking about weak calls on screens, about as weak as it gets. You don't make that call there. And what Miles Turner negligibly leaned a little bit off to the side, but you don't call that.
That's a playoff pick.
That's a playoff.
Yeah.
Draymond is. You don't even want to talk about Draymond's his screens that wouldn't get called for offensive fouls, and then you call that there in an already kind of a physical game. Just a couple of other points though. I think Ben alluded to it too. The Knicks kind of had some questionable calls that they forced on themselves down the stretch too, inbounding the ball to Jalen Brunson there with like 20 seconds left, and they really rebounded it. They passed him into a trap. If the defender used the sideline as a perfect defender, and it kind of got him into a trap. He got lucky that the ball bounced off of the Indiana player's leg, but they had to use a challenge there. So, it's just like stuff like that. The Knicks didn't do themselves any favors down the stretch, but I do think they did enough to win the game. Obviously, I think they were the better team. It was close at times. I think Ron might disagree. I think he might think the Pacers got hosed, but close game kind of goes either way. You never want the whistle to decide it, but in these close games, sometimes it does come down to that. Now, just looking onto the series, though, Ben mentioned it. The Thibodeau model plays the starters a lot. I think they got outscored on the bench like 49-3 or 46-3, something crazy like that. So the Pacers bench did work. Knicks got all the work from their starters. And I just got, we all just got word before because this is news for everybody. But Mitchell Robinson, one of their platoon defenders, he comes in on the front court. He's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. He was already hobbled because Joel Embiid's a dirty player and tried to take him out in the previous series. But Mitchell Robinson is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. So the Knicks get even thinner. And the series is being played every other day. So you got to think with the frantic pace. The Pacers are going to control the pace here in this series. So I do think it's going to be a longer series. I think this might be a 6 to 7 game series. I think the Pacers might steal one tomorrow night.
Ron, what about you? Did you like the way that game finished last night?
Hell no. Roland is absolutely correct in the verbiage. They absolutely got hosed. The ref, I thought I was watching the damn ESPN documentary where the refs had money on the game because, bro, that's just such a bad call, and not the call itself, but 15 seconds left in the game of the playoffs at Madison Square Garden, and you're going to make that call, man? Look, you're the visiting team. You're the Pacers. You go into a hostile environment. You play your ass off. You come all the way back, and then you give up the lead. And let's face it, boys, it was a hell of a back-and-forth game. You come out, you do what you got to do defensively, you get the ball. I think they were up 1 at the time. And then to just get that call, and it wasn't even like he was rolling to the basket or anything. I mean, it's damn near, by half court. So, I think they absolutely got hosed. It's a bad look for not just the players not just a bad look for the refs, but it's a bad look for the NBA because then, questions start coming out about, potential scandals and stuff like that. Like, to me, that's honestly how bad
the investigation. We're CL2M, the last 2-minute report.
Ron, it was literally that bad, bro.
There was a kickball that they called also.
That's a good point, Ben. That's a good point.
And not reviewable. Kickballs are not reviewable, so they couldn't even review it.
Another terrible call because that's an easy bucket for the Pacers.
And you have 3 refs. It's not like soccer, right? There's 1 ref for like the whole fucking field. It's basketball. It's a smaller court. You got 3 refs. You got cameras, you got all this stuff. It was just a total shit show by the referees, and hopefully they get it right. When the NBA playoffs, the post pressers come out, and that's when the players go to the stand. AKA LeBron does it all the time, and there's coaches who do it in the past. They come out and get the refs' attention, during the post game speeches. I think that's definitely going to happen. But to get to the series, like Roland was saying, with that injury to Robinson, right? I'm sorry, I'm stuttering like a
Mitchell Robinson.
To Robinson, and the Pacers knowing that they can go beat the Knicks at Madison Square Garden, I think their confidence is up. I think they know that they really, really have to push the ball even more than they know that they have to push the ball. I mean, they got to get up and down on these dudes. Jalen Brunson is a hefty dude. I think Perk called him Big Body Brunson, and he's dragging a big body up and down the court. Dude's going to get gassed. I think he's averaging over 35 minutes. In the playoffs,
and over 35 points. I wanted to ask you
guys,
bro. I wanted to ask you guys here on the pod because we see these players ascend in big moments. Dating back to the round 1, I think Brunson has cleared 30 points in maybe like 5 or 6 consecutive games. I want to ask you guys: are we seeing the birth of a new star in Jalen Brunson, like a solidified star? Like I'm already seeing him on commercials. Like I think the people are picking up on him. He's got a great game. He's not uber athletic. He has a great 3-point shot. He controls the pace. Great midi. Can finish through contact. I'm gonna throw it to you guys. Whoever wants to go first. Are we seeing the birth of a star here?
What I had here was that he scored 51 points, 44 points, and 43 in his last 3. And actually, we had made this slide here of who's been more impressive in the playoffs. Was it Anthony Edwards or Jalen Brunson, just because of the fact that he's putting up more than 40 points a game? And I wanted to kick it to Ben first, really, because he was on this ticket last year when he was asking us Jalen Brunson or Spider Mitchell. A lot of us had some pushbacks that Spider is still Spider. Ben, it's sounding like your take is strong. Jalen Brunson seems like he's the man. What do you think, bro?
Yeah, I think him being in that New York market, and I mean, you know how their fans are. Like he's playing for the Knicks. You're their best player. I think for sure. I mean, I don't think he's going to be as household, as the Currys and those other guys. But I think that he's, on that star level I think Jamal Murray level. Definitely a guy that, bro, I mean, he's a bucket getter and he gets
A
them
bucket.
all types of ways. He's not fast. He knows where he's going. His handle's tight. No Diddy, but bro, he's really good. I think that they need to get rid of Julius Randle.
This is all without
Because,
him.
yeah, this is all without him. Let's remember, if Julius Randle was there, we don't want to say that a team is going to be worse because he is a max contract type of player for them.
Yeah.
But we've known that there has been rumors of them trying to ship him out. These Villanova guys, or that backcourt of DiVincenzo, Brunson, and Josh Hart, bro. I mean, it's nasty. It's
DiVincenzo was hitting shots last night, man. Damn.
And then with Hardenstein at center, who is probably going to play hard, not going to give you much else, but he is going to play really hard. It's that team. They're like that team in the regular season that they win so much because they play hard every single night. When all those other superstars take nights off because it's an 80-some game season, so the Knicks overachieve. But here they are in the playoffs. These guys still aren't running out of gas. And there's just a lot of chemistry, bro. Like, we can't – I know we mentioned, they're all Villanova guards, but they played together as well. Some of them shared the court together over there. The chemistry is there. They know Brunson's their guy, and they don't shy away from going to him and letting him chunk up 30-plus shots. So I think that they know their MO, and they're going to live and die by it. It's just going to come down to, can they – get some stops down low now with Mitchell Robinson gone, I guess. That's their big thing.
Yeah, I mean, they were already thin. We talk about it with Thibodeau all the time. He already has, short lineups. So that's just another blow. I don't know who – I mean, it's Hardenstein, Mitchell Robinson,
OG.
I know they were already down Bogdanovic. I think he had gotten hurt in the prior series. So Thibodeau's gonna have to, trust in some other guys here down the stretch and see if they can get some help. But what I just real quick on Brunson before we go to Anthony Edwards, what do you guys think about his patented, get to the free throw line move where he, gets by the defender and then he backs it up. He backs that tail feather up and then he forces the little foul there. Do you got fair or foul? Do you guys like that? Are you a fan of it? I think it just goes down to him being crafty, but I know people fall on one side of the fence or the other when it comes to forcing contact and forcing the foul.
Jalen, go ahead, John. Go. You're good.
Real quick, I think it's completely fair. It's like you said, part of his craft, something he's worked on with his dad. The videos are out there where he's just nonstop working it. And I think when you have that in your bag, those little moves, as long as that doesn't get outlawed, you got to go to them every time. And that's him. That's what he does. So it's got to be fair.
Jalen Brunson to me is CP3, bro. He's CP3 in his prime. He's the guy who's going to get you to the Western Conference Finals. He's the guy who's going to hit that little mid-range, like Roland said, his little go-to stuff. But he's not going to get you a championship, bro. He's killing it with the Knicks because he's playing almost 40 damn minutes a game, and there's no other options out there. But Ben calling Josh Hart a baller is wild to me. It's absolutely wild. He's balling. I'll give you that. I mean, dude's now he's playing almost 48 minutes in damn game. But he ain't no baller, bro. We saw what he did with the Lakers. Was he with the Pels for a little bit too?
Yeah, with the Pels too. Yeah.
I mean, we're not talking about – we're talking about Josh Hart because he's the second best player on the Knicks right now, and he shouldn't be the second best player on the Knicks to me. Now, albeit –
Fair point.
I mean, albeit, dog, they're balling, yes. But, I mean, the East right now, Bucks hurt. Pacers aren't very good. I mean, 76ers, Embiid was, playing at 50%. I mean,
Embiid dropped 50 on him.
Anybody but okay, so a 50% Embiid dropping 50 on him? I mean,
but he also lost the series. Like, these guys are winning games, Ron.
Yeah, but he that another controversial ending. They were up 5 with 17 seconds left, and they somehow lose at the Garden. So it's just to me, it's just to me, man, the East isn't very stacked. Jalen Brunson is one of the top players in the Eastern Conference right now. I'm going to give the flowers where they're due, but a lot of the things to me are falling into place for the Knicks and for Jalen Brunson, which is why, he's this explosive superstar that's all over SportsCenter and all over, the real plays and the highlights and stuff. But if they even get past the Pacers next round, it's like you guys have been saying, I'll show curtains, in the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, shit, they might even get swept. So, I mean, he's balling. He's a star, but he's not a superstar.
So for you, more impressive for your money, Ron. Which are you taking? Ant or are you taking Jalen for more
dog.
impressive
The
in the playoffs?
The shoes get here on Monday, bro. The Anthony Edwards kicks, man.
There we go.
Roland,
I
what
like
about you?
that.
For your money, what are you taking?
Okay.
You taking Anthony or you taking Jalen as the more impressive so far in the playoffs?
Shit,
Most
I'm
must watch.
taking the 24-year-old Anthony Edwards who's doing the. I mean, he's saying suck it to the league, bro. I mean, goes in and the defending champions and kicks their ass, in their own on their damn home court. I mean, I think it's a unanimous decision, boys. If you have those little media players right there in front of you, whose highlights are you going to want to watch? Ant or Jalen Brunson?
Roland, what about you? Where are you at?
Good point in terms of highlight reel. Who's what I want to watch? Probably Anthony Edwards, because that's going to include a lot of posters. It's going to include him crossing guys like KCP last night and then pointing at him. Reggie Jackson. My bad. Excuse me.
Hey, Roland, what was his name? What was his name in the movie with Adam Sandler? I've been trying to think of it all day.
Oh, I'm blanking out. But I've been seeing clips of that movie of just Ant Edwards just talking shit. But that's that's his game. Ant Edwards is here. He's definitely announced himself as, one of the, I think for my money right now, he's a top 10 player in the league. I don't know if that's, being hyperbolic, but I definitely think he's playing at that level right now. Another guy that's, dropping back-to-back 40-point games or back-to-back 30-plus games,
so
just scoring
40,
out of his mind.
43 and 27.
There you go. He's a 3-level scorer, which something that I did not see from him coming out of college. I did not think that he would be as good of a 3-point shooter as he is today. But he's added that to his game, and there's no way to guard him. Because if you go for that, his little step back, he's going to blow right by you, and it's a poster or it's a highlight reel. And he's in this zone right now. He's playing at another level. Props to Brunson, but if I'm choosing one right now, I mean, Ant Edwards. And, I might buy some shoes and rock them with some jeans too.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wale.
The last thing I got to ask you about this now, are we at the point where we can even say Ant Edwards is the new face of the league? Can we say that already, or are we kind of trending there?
I think if he wins a title this year, you'll be able to say it.
Facts. That's where I'm at.
The parade would be wild. You'd have some wild times at the parade too, bro. Like, the clips of him at the parade. I mean, I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I think I think the podcast wouldn't mind, the Timberwolves winning the title.
They're the second shortest odds on the board to win the title. They're the second shortest odds.
They went for, you know what? We'll wait. We'll wait till we get to that slide. We're going to show the odds.
And if he were to beat guys, in the next round, you're going to have to go up against either Luka or Shai. Those are two other guys that are up there for upcoming face of the league. So you could get them out of there. And then in the championship, you're up against Tatum, who, for years people have said it. So he has a chance here to eliminate everybody and kind of take that title, for it's his for the taking if he wants it.
Okay, so if not Anthony Edwards face of the league right now, who is?
That's a good question. Who's the face of the league right
young
now?
or just young, old, just
face of the
league
when you think NBA,
face of the league, who I still think of the NBA, and if I'm wrong, you guys shoot me, but LeBron James.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's still
right
LeBron.
here, baby.
Yeah, that's still LeBron. The face, just like he's still the guy that I think of when I think of the NBA. But not to say that can't change.
Ben, are you in agreement with that? Are you still thinking LeBron is the face of the league right now?
I wanted to say I want to go with one of these European players, bro, because they get glazed so hard.
Dude, but you always hear people campaigning not to give Jokic the MVP again. There's fatigue
but
on
he still
Jokic.
Gets it every year.
I mean, he didn't win it last year. It was they gave it to Embiid because they got tired of giving it to Jokic.
Giannis?
No
Giannis is another.
Embiid.
Speaking of MVPs, Giannis has gotten the award several times.
No, but I was
going to
say Jokic or Luka because the Luka love is ridiculous as well.
Luka love's there.
True.
And it's been on him for a while. So I was thinking maybe one of those younger guys right now, but because I think it's wide open. I think it's there for the taking.
I think Giannis had a really, really good stake at that claim, especially coming off that title. But kind of after what the Bucks have done, he's been injured, kind of out of it. That's kind of faltered for him. But Giannis was right there. I mean, as soon as he won that title, he was the guy. for sure.
Shit, Disney Channel went and made a damn movie about
Exactly.
his life.
Yeah,
Shit.
Giannis was that
They
guy.
got his brother on the squad who doesn't do a damn thing. So
Yeah,
He's a
truly,
glue guy. He's a glue guy.
Truly, I believe we're in a transitional period in the NBA where there's no face right now. It's actually up for the taking. And I think who wins in the playoffs here, like y'all mentioned, if it's Ant, if it's Jalen, if it's, the kid from the Celtics, I can't think of his name right now, the star.
Tatum.
Tatum. I think it's up for the taking. One of these guys can take it. And I think that's what we're going to have is a transitional period. So we'll see who wins.
Mhm.
And talking about winning, Roland was already looking at some tickets here for gambling, and I want to, let y'all look at the numbers and see where they're at. And if you're playing a ticket tonight, what are we picking?
Man, look at how different those odds are. And it's crazy because I think we all
Wow.
talked about the Wolves before, like when we came on and talked about it before the playoffs had even tipped about, hey, these odds are telling us that people don't believe the Wolves can really pull it off. I'm just, pointing that out. Plus 2,400, and they were the 2 seed. So pretty impressive there. If I'm betting tonight, man, I'll probably put in a ticket on the Thunder or the Mavs to see if they can get it done. But yeah.
Ben, what about you? Where are you putting that money at right now?
Yeah, I don't care for any of these teams at all, but I would say, I think the West is going to win it. Whoever, we had said whoever comes out of that Denver and Minnesota series, was probably going to come out of the West and represent it. But I think OKC or the Timberwolves, there's and just to be honest, right? And I know there's one team that I don't want to see win it. Everybody else, shit.
Me too.
Indiana Pacers could go and win the fucking title. I could care less, bro.
Yeah.
There's just one team I can't have win it, and that's kind of where I'm at in this playoff race.
Who's that team for you?
Who's the team? Tell us the
Dallas,
team.
the Mavs.
Oh, the Mavs.
Why?
Because fuck that, bro.
Because the other Texas team.
I'm not ready for
bro?
what comes with that, bro. I'm not ready for it. I'll admit I'm not ready for it.
You ain't ready for the Luka the God?
For me, it's anybody but the Celtics every year, so that's where I'm at.
Money wise, for me, I think not smart money, but if you're going to take a stab at something right now, and it's going to sound total opposite of what we said the whole entire show, is the Nuggets at plus 1,200.
No.
Look, man,
They're
they are
food
down
at this point, bro.
Maybe they had
I
shown some
understand.
fight, Ron. Maybe.
No.
But what you're saying, Ron, is like you're just like a $5, $10 bet,
Yeah,
not like you're really putting heavy.
$10. $10 wins you 120. Shit,
Give me 2 cute tacos, cuz.
Ben said it's
like
done. Then that's what
I
he's
like that.
done,
I am
bro.
on a Nuggets ticket. A Wolves ticket plus 800 before the series started, but to win the whole entire championship. Roland, I think yours at plus 800 to win the West is
to win the West.
I'm not gonna say the L word because I don't want to jinx it, but it's pretty damn near close, my guy.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, but I think we're all Ben. You don't want the Mavs to win. My team has to be the Celtics, man. I really don't want to see the Celtics win, and I think that they don't because they're Papa Doc. They're choke artists. We saw them win by 15 tonight in Cleveland, but it was kind of close. Cleveland had their little runs. Cleveland just came off a 7-game series. The Celtics were rested, for about a week. They were at the Garden, so
I don't even want to see them get to the finals, Ron. That's where I'm at.
that'd be wild. Who would they lose to?
I'll take anybody. I don't want to see the Celtics in the finals. That's
I know, but
just
who?
that.
Who?
Anybody. I don't care. Anybody but the Celtics.
I understand. Okay, fine.
Unfortunately, Justin, I don't think you're going to get your wish. I think we're going to have to see the Celtics in the finals another year, with or without KP. Like, they're going to get through the Cavs. I think that's pretty easy. They just, washed them tonight. Knicks and Pacers, I expect both of them to be shot by the time they get there. Injury and just, a fatigue put together. So the Celtics got a cakewalk. But I agree with what I think Ron just said it right now. I think the West is going to win the finals.
Ben
the winner of the
I just want to
NBA
give him his
finals come out of the
flowers
West.
because if not, he's gonna say like, "Nah, I wasn't." Gonna say it.
But the Celtics, I think that we were talking about it. They don't need KP necessarily to get through the East, but I do think that injury would come into play in the West. Especially if they go up against the Timberwolves. That front court's going to get eaten alive. The Celtics.
Al Horford going to have to retire.
Gonna get eaten alive if there's no KP. And the injury, people were saying that it was similar to the Giannis injury, And Giannis came out a couple of days ago and said that he wasn't even anywhere close to being in game shape. So he was game 6 and I think they got eliminated in 6. He wasn't even close to coming back then. So KP still a ways out from return. I think the Celtics, though, they got a little bit of time, and we'll see if he's healthy in time for the finals. Hope he is, because I want to see the Celtics at full strength go up against maybe the Wolves or the Thunder.
Looking at these numbers here, I think one of the crazier things that we're seeing is how much Vegas just doesn't respect the Cavs to do it. They got worse odds now that they're in this game than when they started the playoffs. They're a plus 4,900.
Well, because they also lost
15,000.
Allen's
Yeah,
been hurt.
they lost Allen, and it's just thinking about what they did, right? The Cavs, they threw the end of the regular season so they can match up with the Magic. And what happened? They went to freaking 7 games with the team that they wanted to match up with, and they were down by 20 in that game 7. And it took, a miraculous comeback from the Cavs to, come back, and they ended up winning the game pretty easily. But still, I mean,
they're probably at home against anybody else though, rolling first round, to be fair.
Say that again.
If they match up against anybody else, they're probably at home first round, though, to be fair.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, that just goes to, Justin's point of the, the blatant disrespect that Vegas is giving them at plus 15,000. You got to factor in that injury, but I don't think they were very impressive in that Magic series. I walked away more impressed with the Magic than I did with the Cavs in that series, even though the Cavs ended up victorious.
Magic have a little something next year, though. I think take the next step up.
Pacers are as dead as the Nuggets, bro. They're as dead as the Nuggets.
Paolo's another guy we haven't
Who's
talked
more
about.
dead, Ben?
The Cavs and the Nuggets are equally as dead in this playoff.
Pacers and the Pacers and the Celtics would be a pretty nice Eastern Conference Finals.
It would be high scoring for sure.
I just don't know if I would want to see
Knicks against Celtics, bro. Just old classic.
Yeah. Boston versus New York.
The Garden.
Yeah, so we're running up on an hour here before we, sign off. What do you guys think about the game that's going on right now? We don't have to give game 1 prediction since we're already going into the second quarter tied at 23-23.
Mm-hmm.
But where do you guys land on the Thunder and the Mavs series? The series price, I think, was the Thunder minus 125. So Thunder short favorite, even though they're the 1 seed going up against the 4 or 5 seed. What do you guys think about the series?
I think the Mavs take this series, man. I think there's too much star power between Kyrie and Luka. I think Kyrie kind of turns it on in the fourth quarter when he needed to, just like he did with, LeBron. LeBron would carry him, the whole game, and then he hit that big shot against the Warriors, as everybody knows. I think that the Thunder are just going to be a little bit too young. I think Shea's going to be putting up his numbers, but I don't know if they have that true second star, that standout. Chet's a little small down there in the paint for me. I will give it to them. I think they can be scrappy. They'll give the Mavs trouble. I could see a 6-7 game series, but in the end, I think that Luka and Kyrie kind of bear down and bring it home for the Mavs.
Yeah, for me, I think it's the Mavs. I think the only way that we could see Oklahoma City come out of this is like what Ron said, a second star, and I think that star would have to be Josh Giddey. I think he would have to contribute with some of the shooting to get them to win this. Lou Dort's not going to do it. Chet, like Ron said in the post, he's not going to do it. So who's that leave? That leaves
Jalen?
Josh Giddey. And I don't think he's the guy. So for that reason, I think we're going to see the Mavs advance.
Okay, what about you, Ben? You're wearing that Dallas Stars jersey. Does that translate to Dallas Mavericks for you?
No, fuck no, not at all. Shout out Dallas Stars. They got a game here.
Oh, yeah, they're up 1-0.
Already started. There we go, up 1-0. In this series, I think that this is going to be kind of what beats the Lakers. The Lakers have the star power, but it's kind of what beats them is they go up against teams with real chemistry. And I think the Thunder have been together long enough to where they have chemistry, kind of like the Nuggets. The Nuggets were together for a while before they went on that run. And these guys play well together. They don't necessarily need another 20-point scorer every single night. Sometimes it's Chet, sometimes it's Jacob. It can be sometimes it's Lou Dort if the shot's falling. And if Lou Dort's going to be getting left open in this series, like we've seen him get left open, in the playoffs before, it could be him. So I think that the Thunder's just team chemistry, home court. Luka's also not 100%. I mean, from what everybody's can see from last series, he didn't have a good series to begin with. Yes, they won, but he didn't do really well. Kyrie's heroics in several of those games were top notch. So I'm just
Reminded
going to
us
go
why
with
he's a
the Thunder,
champion.
the younger team, the team at home, and the team with, a guy in the MVP race, Shy.
Yeah, I'm gonna make this 2-2. I'm gonna be with the Thunder. Yes, I'm biased. I have a ticket on them, but I do think the Thunder, they have enough bodies on the perimeter to throw at Kyrie and to throw at Luka. In terms of just defenders, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander not talked about as a defender, but he led the league in steals this year. So I mean, he's great at taking your cookies. So that's going to be a body to throw at Luka. They got Jalen Williams. I know we're talking about another 20-point scorer, but he is that guy. I mean, he pretty much averaged about 18 or 19 and 5. He's a box scorer, stat sheet stuffer. Can pretty much do it all. But I do worry. Ron pointed it out. I'm glad he said it. Chet Holmgren. The versatility that he gives the Thunder, being able to spread it out, and he's almost a one-of-a-kind athlete. There's a couple of other bigs that have his ability, but he's one of those unicorn type guys. But that leads to them being susceptible in the paint. They can get bullied a little bit. They were towards the bottom of the league in defensive rebounding, so they give up a lot of offensive rebounds. The Mavs, you don't necessarily think about them as the biggest front court, but I definitely think they got the bigger front court in this situation when you factor in Daniel Gafford. They got a Lively, who's a great.
Those guys ain't gonna
guy.
hurt him though, Roland.
I mean, I would take them in terms of boarding up over what you get with Chet Holmgren, and that's what you sacrifice when you go with the type of lineups that the Thunder throw out there, right? You get a lineup with SGA, Giddey, Jalen Williams, Dort, and then you throw in Chet Holmgren as your 5, right? Super versatile lineup, hard to stick with offensively, but you are going to give up a little bit on the rebound. So I do see that maybe factoring in, but I got to ride with the Thunder here.
Somebody who's playing tonight who we haven't mentioned, and dude can ball. And I'll give you guys a little hint. His dad was a baller too with the Miami Heat, Tim Hardaway Jr. Now, yes, he hasn't played. He's not a superstar, but hey, he's back on the squad. You guys were saying, they can throw bodies at Luka, and they can,
I
throw
see he
bodies
just checked in right now. He's in
at Kyrie. But hey, he's another guy. He'll give you those 10, 12 points off the board. Off the bench. You never know. And another injury for the Mavs is this. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Is it Kleber? Kleber or something
Maxi
like
Kleber.
Yeah, Kleber. Big guy. I mean, good on the boards, good in the paint, and he could shoot the 3. Last series, I think there was a little, 5-minute span where he hit like back-to-back threes and, got the Mavs back in the game. So injuries, huge part of the NBA playoffs, boys. They can make you or they can break you.
With Chet, what I am going to be looking for is, as tall as he is, I know he's not the biggest body, but Luka likes to go down the middle of the lane and throw up those lobs to Lively or Gafford. So with his tall ass and his wingspan, I do expect him, to throw a wrench into that and not make it get those easy buckets that they were getting, on the Clippers and Zubac. Just the lack of mobility, I do think it helps in the pick and roll. I think Chet's going to be a lot better. And the Mavs are a lot of pick and roll.
Chet just heard me. He just stuffed the shit out of Lively.
There we go. You see that shit? Let's go.
As far as offense goes for the Thunder, Ben, where do you think they're going to produce besides Shai and Chet? Who's going to be the next guy that can produce some offense for
just team ball? I think moving the ball. Like I said, I think it could be different guys as the second leading scorer in different games this series. But I mean, they find the open guy. They're not selfish because they don't have these superstars aside from Shai. That they constantly have to feed the ball to. So they just play basketball. I a lot of people say it might sound a little bit corny, but they play it the right way. For a young team, they've overachieved. They're the number 1 seed. Look, now Chet's hurt. They play ball the right way. So I'm just looking for them to just play good team ball and have different guys step up on different nights to help Shai.
All right. Roland, is there anything else you want to talk about tonight for the NBA games, or are we going to wrap it up right here?
Man, I'm good to wrap it up. I'm ready to watch this game here, the Thunder and the Mavs. Looks like it's going to be a close game down to the wire.
Real quick, is everybody on the Stars tonight? Are we all going to be cheering for the Stars? I know Ben, he's been to the games this year. He's got the jersey on. What's the case, Ben?
Yeah, hopefully the Stars get it done. I know they're playing the Colorado Avalanche, who have been champions here in the past. So,
are they defending champs?
Shoot, that's a good question. I think they might be.
And they just booted the Knights.
They just beat another former champion
recently. Yeah. So hopefully for the Stars.
I thought the Lightning had won.
That was the year before.
We're from We're from the United States. We're not from Canada.
I think the Stars
don't
get
really
it done.
follow
I
fucking hockey
like the
that much.
Stars. Glad they
All right, boys.
got the Thunder out of there. Not the Thunder, the Knights.
Anybody else got anything before we close out?
Nope.
That's it. Take us home.
All right, boys. I'll probably be back. What, Thursday? We're thinking Thursday night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do a little quick Thursday update or something.
That'll be a little recap on the Knicks and Pacers game that's going to take place tomorrow. So yeah.
There we go. We'll see you Thursday night, boys. Peace.
Peace.
Later.